listening to the IELTS podcast. Learn from tutors and ex-examiners who are masters of IELTS preparation. Your host, Ben Worthington.
Hello there, IELTS students. My name is Ben Worthington, and today we're going to look at the cost of studying and living in the United Kingdom. My name's Ben, and I've been preparing students for IELTS for maybe 12 years now. Before that, I was just a general English teacher. Then I specialized in IELTS. I was so lost at first, so I decided to reach out to professionals, record my conversations, release them, test the material on my students. Fast forward to today, and we've got IELTSPodcast.com, one of the most popular places online for students to prepare, because we offer students tools to help them pass fast. Tools such as our AI essay checker that will give you an estimated band score for free. I won't speak more about that because we've got a lot to cover in today's tutorial, but you can go over to IELTSpodcast.com to find out more. And to help us navigate and educate us about the costs of studying and living in the UK, we've got our expert on to the tutorial today, Fedoua. Hello there. How are you doing?
Hi, Ben. I'm very good. And you?
Excellent. Thank you. Yeah, I'm doing good. The good weather's a beautiful change. It's lifted my mood considerably. And is it as hot now in London as it would be back home? No, it won't be, will it? It's nowhere near as hot as Italy or Morocco.
No, not at all.
Nowhere near.
In Italy has been summer for a month now. So no, here it's today it's very nice, beautiful sunny day. But until yesterday it was raining. I had my hat, my coat, my umbrella until yesterday. So it was we are very happy and grateful for today.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I keep trying to tell my wife. She asked me, she was like, if this is spring, what's summer like? And I was like, pretty much like this. And she wouldn't believe me. She thought I was just setting her up to be like happier in the summer, but I was like, I didn't want to burst it. I didn't pop it, but I just left it. I was like, yeah, you can. Yeah, maybe it's going to get warmer. We'll see. I don't think it is. But anyway, before today's tutorial, we're talking about the cost of studying and living in the UK. And before we get into this, I just would like to ask you something, Fedwa. Like, do you find, as well, you probably will, I guess, in London, because it's like 10 times more extreme, but just going out in the morning and you just have a normal day, and then you come back and you're like, wow, I've just spent 70, 80 quid and I've got nothing to show for it. You know, do you have that experience?
Well, I mean, it depends. I mean, I don't go out a lot unless I have meetings
Yeah.
and or meeting my universities or students. But I'm someone that lately, I have to say, I don't spend a lot, surprisingly, because I don't know, probably because I spent so much in the past that I don't have any more space for anything else. My husband is like, okay, you stop buying because we really have a lot of stuff at home. So lately I'm like, okay, I'm spending less than before, but still London, it's quite expensive,
Yeah.
even for professionals.
Yeah.
I mean, especially going out for food or drinks or theater, whatever, any activity, it can be quite expensive. Yeah.
Yeah. Just one last before we jump into today's material. Like, I've lived abroad and for the last 20 years, as I said earlier, and I never had this problem of sort of like going out and then coming back and there's still 30 euros in my pocket. But in England, I just find it so easy to spend money. There's stuff that I want, but then there's also stuff that costs me that I don't want. Like, I mean, parking and just little fees every step. But anyway, you're going to talk to us more about this, and more specifically, what are the average tuition fees for international students at UK universities?
So let's say that normally they go from the cheapest, let's say, is 12,600
Hmm.
with the scholarship. Okay, so with a discount already applied from the university, and up to, I don't know, I think 30,000. Yeah,
Wow.
I
Is
think
this per
30,000
term
is the
or
most
per academic
expensive.
year?
No, per academic year.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. But then in the middle we have a lot. So there are a lot of
Okay. So
options.
so 12,600 at the lower end with a scholarship from a university, and then up to around 30,000 pounds for the academic
Yes.
year.
Yeah,
Wow. That's quite a range, isn't it? And
it is.
I'm going a bit off script now, but I, I I know students used to be able to work when they got their study visa. Can they work now, or can they still work? I don't know the situation.
Yeah. So all international students um have they can work like 20 hours per week.
Right.
And during like holidays, Christmas or Easter, or summer holidays, they can work full time.
They can. Oh, okay. They can work full time. Right.
Yeah, yeah.
I see. Do you find a
Basically,
lot of your
when they have, sorry, yeah, go ahead.
go on when they have?
When they basically when they have classes, they have to attend classes,
Yeah.
then they can only work 20 hours. But then when the classes are over, then they can pick up more hours if they want.
Interesting. Do you find a lot of your students do work and do get jobs, or do they just focus on their studies?
Well, I mean, I have to say 60% they do find jobs,
Mm,
and they do work. So yeah, I mean, they especially here in London, but also outside London, because I really have like few students in London. Most of my students are all around the UK, I have to say. But yeah, they do find small jobs, of course, nothing like
mm.
nothing wow, but they do find, yeah.
Right. Okay. And can you break down the typical living expenses an international student could expect while they're studying in the UK?
Yeah, well, the biggest part um, where they will spend the most is for accommodation, of course.
Mm,
So, like if we are talking about London, for a single room, they have to budget at least between, well, if they are lucky, 600, between 600 and 800, and we can go up to 1,000, 1,200 for a single room. But students usually it's between 650 and 800 per month in London.
right. I see.
Why?
That's
Yeah,
student accommodation.
it could be both.
Right.
Also private, you can find something. Of course, private is a bit more expensive.
Mm,
Um, but yeah, but with 800, you can find like a room in a flat with other students.
right. I see. And what are the costs? Do students have to pay the NHS surcharge now? Like,
Yeah, of
or
course.
right. I see.
Yeah.
And that's like £2,500 a year or something? Or how much is it?
It really depends on how many years they are coming to study.
Mm,
So for a 12-month course, it would be around £700, I think.
okay.
Yeah, but then if they are coming for 3 years, it might go up to 1,500.
Right, right.
Yeah,
Okay.
for a bit
Y-
more. Yeah.
Yeah, because I just paid an NHS surcharge for my partner, but I think they billed us for the entire 2.5 years up front. I can't remember. I need to get better at
Yeah,
this.
yeah, you need to pay up front. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And then there's how much would you budget for like food and transportation and leisure activities?
Yeah. So let me just finish with the accommodation. So,
Okay, sorry, yeah.
because I was talking about London, but if you are outside London, usually what I hear from my students is the range is around 600 or 700 pounds. That's for a single accommodation.
It's really expensive, isn't it? That's
It
crazy.
is. It is. Well, prices they went up, especially with well, here in London with COVID, because a lot of people went outside London. Um, and a lot of people wanted to almost live like by themselves, so they didn't want to also to share.
Hmm.
Um, so outside London or in London, accommodation it's just like went up to the roof because everyone wanted like a place with a garden, a place with a
Right.
small balcony. Um, of course, sharing with too many people wasn't okay anymore. So even outside where the rent was cheaper, with COVID, it went up. And also with the increase of the interest rate, the rent went, there was a second increase like last year.
Wow.
So yeah, I hope they will rethink a bit about the cost of the rent and bring it down, because London, like it's really like most of the people renting are foreigners, international students, because British people usually they prefer to live a bit outside, like where they have
Yeah.
houses and where their family live and everything. So yeah, so but in London is becoming quite difficult to access, and this is why I suggest or I advise students to go with university accommodation, at least in London, because
Yeah.
the fees are still like the cost is still contained.
Right. Interesting. Yeah. And I guess outside of London, somewhere like Newcastle, up north is going to be quite cheaper. Would you agree?
Yes, definitely, definitely, like Liverpool, Newcastle, uh, Sunderland, uh, Coventry. I mean, all like apart from London, anything outside London would have different prices.
Yeah, yeah, good point. Good point. Now, that kind of actually just answers the third question was about the costs in different regions, but we kind of answered that already. Like, generally speaking, the north is cheaper than the south, but there's yeah. And when I say the south, I would say anything south of Birmingham. I mean, that's my understanding, but broadly speaking, anywhere outside of London is probably
Yeah.
going to be a little bit cheaper. And what financial aid is available for students studying in the UK?
Yeah, so it's well, I mean there are some universities that if you're coming for an undergraduate course, they might give you like a scholarship for the first year, the second year, and the third year. Eh, there are some universities they only give you a scholarship for your first year. So that's the only help, let's say, a student can get. Some universities might offer some bursaries, but it's really like it's based on your grades, on passing all your exams, getting certain grades.
Mm,
So that's something you they students might apply to, but not all. the universities have that for international students.
Right.
Yeah,
And I guess it's
so
incredibly competitive as well, going for the bursaries and the scholarships and all of that.
definitely, definitely.
Yeah.
What I suggest is to also the university itself usually they do offer jobs for students.
Mm.
What I would suggest is to apply for like student ambassador. They always need students that speak different languages from different backgrounds. And it's also like a lot of fun. You get to know a lot of people, and it's an amazing experience. And you get some money because the university pays quite well. So compared
Yeah.
to other places. So yeah, I would definitely advise if a student is looking for a job for some to raise some money, uh, just to check first inside the university what they are offering, and I'm sure that they will find something.
Super. And just going back to scholarships, you said some unis offer your first year on the scholarship, but then what happens on year two and year three? How is a student supposed to pay for year two and three? Do they just have to
Yeah,
find it
well,
from the parents, work through the summer to get
yes.
the cash? Is that
N-
the deal?
None. It's the parents, they have to take care of that.
Right. I
Yeah,
see.
yeah,
I see. So the
yeah.
scholarship will help you, but it's not everything. You still got to
Mm,
go back to mum and dad year two and
yeah,
year
yeah, yeah,
three,
yeah.
or get it agreed in probably in
Definitely.
advance.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
definitely, definitely. I mean, the scholarship usually it's 20% of the fees. I mean,
Okay.
it's not like
Okay.
a huge amount. Yeah.
Right. Okay. And what would be some effective budgeting tips for international students to manage their cash while they're in the UK?
Yeah. So, what I would advise them like is to before going abroad, to learn how to cook. That's
This is a solid tip, actually. This
the
is really
solid
solid.
one.
Yeah, this is like honestly, yeah, I can't. It's just one of my brother describes it as a life skill. And I never thought because we always grew up in my house, we were always cooking. Mum would say, "Oh, just finish off those potatoes or just fry an egg for your brother or whatever." And I never sort of like thought about it. But when I was abroad and even with my wife, she can't cook. She's learning. I'm teaching her how to cook, but it's just like she'll open the fridge and she'll see nothing. I open the fridge and then 20 minutes later, there's some food on the table. But like now that we're in a village, it's she can't go down to McDonald's and just get and yeah, it's just an absolute valuable skill, 100% there. Yeah, totally with you, Fedwa.
Definitely, because
Yeah,
the food delivery, and I mean, you can do it once a week, but then it adds up to a lot of other things, and
yeah.
you might not get what you actually want to eat.
And you
So
probably get
yeah,
fat
my
too.
yeah, 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 because it's not healthy, it's greasy, huge portions. So I would just advise that to learn simple things, basic things, but learn how to cook because that will save you a lot of money. Because
Yeah,
if there is something cheap here in the UK is um basic grocery, like to go for to a supermarket and buy your own food and cook from scratch. That's very quite cheap, I have to say.
yeah.
Yeah, so that saves a lot of money. The second thing is explore charity shops.
Genius.
Don't buy new clothes, for example. I stopped buying new clothes like probably uh, since I arrived to the UK, probably 10 years ago. So, I, me and my husband in the last 3 years, so I convinced him as well. So we don't buy new clothes. unless
Mm.
shoes. Basically, the shoes are the only thing that we buy new. But for the rest, we really there are a lot of apps like Vinted, for
Yeah.
example,
Yeah.
where they sell new clothes, new with the tag, and
Yeah.
for more than half of the price.
Yeah.
So I would advise to explore that, because if you can save anything you can save, it's good for you, because then you can do that, go for a trip to another city, go to the theater, use the money to enjoy as well, because
Yeah.
being a student is not about all about, oh my gosh, am I gonna make it this month? Oh my gosh, I have to do this. So it's also to explore the country where you are living, to have a bit of fun, to go out with your friends. So if you can save on anything, just do it. And then when you get a job, you can buy expensive bags and shoes and whatever you like. But as a student, yeah, definitely try to save on that. Also, tea, coffee, bring it from home.
Yeah.
Uh, I mean, going out and buying like a latte for £3, it's just a waste of money.
Yeah.
I mean, you can make it from home and take it with you to the university. You don't have to spend that money. Use public transport. Uber, I would suggest just in the evening. If you are with a group of people, you can split Uber. But if during the day, just use public transport.
Yeah.
Um, what else?
Just,
And
just one,
yeah.
just one thing going. When I was at uni, the international students were the source to buy alcohol and tobacco. I obviously I don't know how or why, but I think they earned. I think they subsidized the living costs with through the duty free shop and buying stuff back home and bringing it back. But that's what they used to do. Not
Oh,
too sure.
really?
I don't think they were saving money, they were making money. But that is just like one opportunity for arbitrage. But back to cooking, I just want to mention one thing. Like if you can do a good fry ups are easy, but if you can do a good fry up, you've got a hefty meal and it'll help you integrate as well. If 'cause every Englishman likes is friends with somebody who could do a good fry up. So yeah, sorry. And the charity shop, the other thing I wanted to mention about the charity shop, it's great for like furniture. You want to buy a bedside table or something, you could go to IKEA, spend all the money messing around and then assembling it, or just walk down to the local charity shop, pick something up, and it doesn't have to be like Scandinavian design or anything. You're going to be there for a year or two. So yeah, the charity shop's a great tip there. Sorry, Fedwa.
No, no, of course, these are all valid tips. And also, all the students, they have this student card. So don't forget about asking for it. With that card, you can get a lot of discounts.
Yeah,
Um, Almost everywhere. I think even on Amazon, IKEA, in a lot of places, and also in your town. So just get the your student card and try to go through all the places where you can get discounts, and yeah, anything really you can get. I don't know. I know about one of my students. She was doing like her grocery shop with two of her flatmates, and they would cook together, and they were saving a lot of money. Because when you buy I don't know, three zucchini, you are not gonna eat three zucchini in a week. Otherwise, then you will throw it. But if you are with other two people or three people, then you can cook a big meal, and you save, so, and you don't throw anything. So
yeah.
so yeah, so what else? um
Well, I was
yeah, and
just
I would,
going to, sorry, I was
yeah.
just going to say about the student card. In cities, especially cities with a big student population, you see student discount everywhere. And so much so that I looked into just seeing if I could get a student card via some, I don't know, free online remote studying course. But yeah, it's not easy. So when you are a legit student, definitely get that card and don't be scared to ask if there's a student discount here because yeah, unless you ask, you won't get it. So great tip that.
Definitely at the gym as well. The gym membership can be discounted for students. Um, the public transport as well, at least here in London, the Oyster card for student is discounted by 30%, if I'm not wrong. So students, they do really have a lot of discounts and they need to be aware of this so they can take advantage of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then we talked about work. Um, I guess we've kind of covered that. It was like 20 years, sorry, 20 hours a month during term time, and then they can go to full time. Oh no, it'd be 20 hours a week, wouldn't it?
Yes,
During
that's
term time.
20 hours a week.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they can it can become a full time during the holidays.
And that's employment. What about if the student like I don't know, I've known students who could braid really well, and then they'd just start setting up, and just almost like freelancing or sole proprietor, as it's called in the UK. Can they do that? Do you know?
Well, if they could, I mean, I don't think they
I
will
guess it would have
count
to be all.
that in their 20 hours. Um, yeah, I mean, they can offer services, but I don't think they leave like a receipt or they get an invoice. I don't know.
I guess it'd have to be just cash in hand, I would imagine, just for
Yeah,
simplicity. But yeah,
yeah.
okay. And what would be the unexpected costs a student might be unaware of?
Well, something I think of is okay, uh, they their laptop doesn't work anymore, so they
Mm,
need to fix it or get a new one.
mm.
Um, Also about laptops, some universities they actually offer some laptops for to students to use them for a
Oh, that's
certain
helpful.
amount of time. Yeah, so if anyone, um, I mean, listening, yeah, in case you don't have a laptop or uh, yeah, you don't have a laptop or your laptop is not working anymore. There are some universities they offer that option. Yeah, or I don't know, their phone get missed, or I don't know. I mean, a lot of things can happen. So this is why I'm like, okay, save money. So if something happens, you have extra money to spend on any unexpected thing. Of
Yeah,
course, I mean, parents, they will be there to help, uh, but still you are abroad by yourself. So, so also like I would advise to have like an emergency pot
yeah,
that students shouldn't touch, and you
yeah.
should just leave it there if anything happens.
Yeah, that's great advice. When I started abroad, when I started living abroad, I just had a rule like, okay, my balance should never be lower than £1,000. And then, anything on top of that is like my living expenses or whatever. Maybe it starts to grow a little bit if I'm watching it, but it could not go lower than 1,000. And that was like my buffer zone. And
Yeah.
that helped me a lot. Like if some unexpected expenses came up, and also going out with cash, just always having a good 20, £30 cash in your wallet. So that if your phone does die, then or you don't have your cards, or for some reason they're not working, you've always got enough cash to at least get back home. So that'd just be one of the kind of little bit of advice for when you are abroad, because cash can get you out of a lot of problems, and having it in the bank and even in your wallet, it's like a good insurance
Yeah,
policy just to get you out of there.
definitely. Especially
Yeah,
when they are coming from home and landing in the UK. Um, it's always good to have cash with you. Don't
yeah,
rely on your credit card that you're bringing from home, because it might work, it might not work. So get some cash with you. Also, have a power bank, because your phone might die and you might not have like the right plug to charge your phone.
yeah,
So get a power bank, so that will help you to keep your phone going for at least I don't know, other 10 hours or whatever.
yeah.
So yeah, so get organized and get some cash with you. That will be helpful.
Excellent. Okay, so we are now at the end of today's tutorial. And if you are seriously considering the UK, then go to IELTSPodcast.com/UK, and you can fill out a form there and you can ask some questions as well. And we'll get back in contact with you just to help you, guide you through your study abroad journey. And probably you'll need IELTS as well. So you can go to, while you're there at IELTSpodcast.com, sign up to our newsletter. There's a ton of value you get in the first email. You get loads of ebooks with collocations and Band 9 essays. And when you do start practicing and you are writing your essays, you can submit them to our online AI IELTS essay check-in tool, which is completely free, and you can get an estimated band score there. So go over to IELTSpodcast.com and you can check that out. Thank you very much for listening, and have a beautiful day, and good luck with your IELTS exam.
Thanks for listening to IELTSPodcast.com.